So the way that tonight is going to go, I'm going to be asking them questions. They're all going to sit at this table. I'm going to be asking them some questions about what it is they're doing, how they got started, what is some advice that they can give you guys to make sure that you guys absolutely kill it in this real estate industry. And these are people who are doing deals daily, every single month. They've been doing it consistency for at least the past couple of years. And I'll just have them introduce themselves.
We're in the business, we've been in the business for about 4.5 years at this point. Roughly 120 to 150 deals a year. And yeah, that's the skinny version.
So my name is Alex Sifakis. I'm the president and one of the owners of JWB Real Estate Capital. We are a real estate investment company. What we do, our core business, is we sell turnkey rental properties. So we buy a house or a lot, we renovate that house or build a house on that lot, and then we rent it out and we sell it to an investor that wants to own it as a rental property. And then we manage it for that investor afterwards so they don't have to do any work. Our clients most of them are out of state, and we've been in business for 12 years. We bought about 700 properties last year, bought 700 properties the year before that. We do everything in-house. So we have an in-house acquisitions team, in-house construction company, in-house property management company, and in-house customer service and sales staff, so about 60 people total. Right now, what we're really focusing on is our property management company. So up until about 6 months ago, we only did property management for ourselves or clients that we sold properties to. We are now offering property management services to everyone in Jacksonville.
So I'm Pat. I'm definitely the newest up here. Everyone up here has got a lot more experience than me, but I think that's kind of the value I add, is because I am very new to this. I'm Flynn Holmes. I'm not going to really say I'm the owner because it's me and 2 business partners. We don't have any employees or anything, so it's still me just kind of running the day-to-day and everything. I would consider us at this point kind of just, we focus on marketing. We're really just a marketing company, and as the deals come in, I go out and close them, and every house is a case-by-case basis. We don't wholesale a ton. Right now we're closing on pretty much everything, and just going from there. If rehabs that we're looking at our options, whether it's selling it as is on the MLS or rehabbing it and selling it. We're just looking at every house on a case-by-case basis and closing on everything. We started about a year ago now, maybe a little over. Right now we're just focusing on ramping up the marketing and trying to figure out, the cheapest way to get deals to come in.
My name is Cindy Browning. I am the owner of Mac Home Development, which we focus on fix and flips. I'm also the co-owner of First Coast Investment Group. Sorry, we're really new. It's going to be our wholesale division. We do anywhere from about 25 flips a year to about 50 wholesales a year. There's about 3 of us on the team. We've been doing this for about 3 years, so we're still small and new, but yeah, that's about it.
So what does your average day look like? From the time you wake up to get to the office, from the time you're done, what is your day-to-day? What are you guys doing? Are you guys taking the calls? Are you guys looking at the houses? Just so everybody can get a little more glimpse of what you guys do.
Okay, my day usually starts anywhere about 5:30 in the morning. I get up. I have a home office, so I go in, I check all the, we have Podio, so I check all my leads that came over overnight, go through anything that our marketing person hasn't caught up on. From there, I catch up on any phone calls, any emails. Most of my day today is going from rehab to rehab, checking on contractors, and mostly checking up on our contracts, any deals that we have closing, contracts, anything like that. That's really what my focus is on, is just making sure deals are getting done correctly through the title company, and then making sure our contractors are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So it's a lot of driving around.
Awesome.
So at this point, we're still spending a pretty good amount of money on marketing each month, and I'm still answering every single phone call that comes in. So answering phones and going through the MLS to see if they make sense or not usually takes up the day. And the stuff we have under contract that we're pushing through, Very rarely will you have a good deal that is just, picture perfect and just goes through with no probate or title or mess issues. So those need to be kind of babysat as they go through the closing process, and we deal with a lot of crazies. So just kind of coaching them step by step with how it's going to work and making sure they get paid. I'd say phones, emails, and just slowly pushing everything through that is supposed to go through.
More than what my day-to-day is now, I think what you guys should know how my day-to-day was 10 years ago. Because we started in 2006, and Jax Reia was the core of what we were doing 10 years ago. Me and my one business partner at the time, I have 3 now, had no experience in real estate, had no freaking clue what we were doing. And a lot of what we learned was from Jax Reia and going on the bus tour and coming to these meetings and networking with people. And that's all we did. We spent 100% of our time, 80 hours a week, getting leads and checking on properties and coming here and learning from people. Nowadays, I spend a lot of my time on business development for the property management company. So I'm talking to owners of property management companies, I'm talking to a lot of realtors. We are buying property management companies. We are buying properties from realtors, who are managing properties. If they have 10 or 20 and they don't want to do the management anymore, we'll pay them to take over management on their properties. And also talking to investors around town that have properties that are looking to get other people to manage them.
What I found recently is, I'm much more productive when my day actually starts the day before or the evening before, and I can actually plan out what the following day looks like. I mean, we all have calendar appointments, but I'm talking about being very intentional with your time and what you're doing. And so if I could humbly give one piece of advice, it's this business is all about networking, and it's about people, and it's about problem solving. So a lot of the deals that you guys can do are with people in this exact room. To echo what Alex was saying, there's a ton of education that can come out of this, but also just friendships, relationships, and your network really influences your net worth. So a ton of value in just being a part of it. And I think I heard it down here, but just talking with those people on a regular basis, that's a lot of what my time is spent doing. I'm blessed to have built a team around me, a small team, but a team. And so I get the most benefit in my business by working with those team members or working with the members of the team, and then speaking and interacting with other investors.
Can you guys walk me through your very first deal? How did you find it? Was it a flip? Was it a wholesale? Did you borrow the funds? How long did it take? Just walk me through your first deal.
Yeah. About 2 months after I kind of had the epiphany and decided real estate was what I wanted to do. And it ended up being a HUD deal. We contracted on it from the HUD website, and we double closed it. Took about 3 weeks from contract to close. And I'll never forget, I made $2,400.
Yeah.
I am here to tell you that was the sweetest $2,400 I've ever made from then till now. Because what it really amounted to was total, all time included, it was maybe 8 or 9 hours, 10 hours max. So it's $240 an hour, which was about 5 times what I was making at the time. So it was incredible.
We wholesaled this house, the lady who ended up retailing it, this was in 2006. And then about 3 years ago, it came back on the MLS as a foreclosure and sold for 30% of what we had sold it for 10 years ago. But I think the same thing. I think we made $3,000 off of that deal, and it was the epiphany, holy crap, this actually works. So it was incredible. And then we did another deal, and the third deal after that we made 24 grand off of a wholesale, which was just that quadrupled the amount that we had in the bank at that point in time. So was totally game changing. The next deal we did was a retail that we lost 20 grand on, so went the opposite direction real quick, but shit happens.
My first one was off a bandit sign in 32207. Was a wholesale. a lady that was flipping a house and was just over it. Had it put it under contract and then sold it with a $5,000 assignment. So nothing huge. And then, but it did get my confidence up pretty high. And then, much like Alex, I thought I was pretty good at that point. Bought one in Orange Park with hard money, and it sat for 4 months. So I think we lost roughly $5,000 on that one. The house I bought right after it. So.
My first one, my marketing manager found via the MLS, and it was in 32217, and I actually hit the jackpot with it, and we put in maybe 10,000-15,000, sold it within a week, made really good money. So what I will say is I had the false sense that this was going to be really easy and great, and I learned my lesson that you have to have patience, because I thought that all of them were like that. They're not. I did get lucky with my first one, but my word of advice is just have a lot of patience, because the first one was really, really good. And then yes, we've had some very, very sore losers from time to time.
Awesome, thank you. So if you could go back to yourself in the past, right before you bought that deal, right before you bought it, what would you tell yourself?
Ooh, patience. Just lots and lots of patience. Some deals are really, really good, and you know that they're going to sell quickly, and sometimes they do, but there are some that take time. They take time to get the right buyer, they take time to market, they take time to get interest, so don't lose heart. I mean, I would just definitely say, if I could go back, just have a lot of patience. I mean, it takes time to build up something, and right before you quit, I mean, you want to, but if you keep going, it will work. It does work, but just have patience.
Awesome.
I think a lot of it's about confidence too. I look back to I had no idea about pricing or anything, she could probably see right through me that I didn't have an idea what I was talking about. But if you go in there with confidence, even if you have no idea what you're talking about, I mean, confidence is the key to getting them done. I just want to share this other story about one. I was just starting up in San Mateo in 32218. I remember 413 Baysden. I went up there and I had stuff going on that day, and my mind wasn't in it. But it was a kind of a false sense of confidence, and I went up there and didn't really care if it got done or not. I was kind of just checking the box, go up on an appointment, and I remember I kind of asked them how much they wanted for the house, and they were like, 120 grand, and I was like, well, whatever. I need it for 70. This is not going to work. I was about to walk out the door, and then they just turned around and said, "Well, would you do 75?" Yeah, I would. So it's just like, it's weird. You go in there and you try too hard, and you're not going to get it done. You just reek of desperation. But you go in there with confidence and act like you know what you're doing, and things get done that way. It's all in your mannerisms and the way you talk to people. That's what I would tell myself if I was starting over again. I think I'd probably miss some because it smelled like desperation too much.
Number one is get a mentor. That's the first thing that I would tell anyone starting out. We got lucky where we actually got connected with some really great mentors really early, which was incredible for us. So I think that's the number one thing you can do. There's so many people in this room that are doing a lot of great things, and hook up with someone that you connect with, and have that resource to reach out to ask some questions when a deal goes bad and you don't know what to do. I think that is the most important thing, is to find a mentor.
I was coming off of working a pretty intense full-time job, and being self-employed for the first time ever was quite a thrill, but it was kind of like a little bit of fish out of water as well. So I knew enough to be dangerous, but didn't know exactly where to put my energy at. And so what I ultimately found out is this business is all about talking with people, and so it's making offers and talking with people, and making offers and talking with people, and making offers and talking with people. But I wasn't really doing any of that, or I wasn't doing it enough. So I could have got a lot further, a lot faster, if I would have been doing that from the jump. I'm
down to 55 hours a week now, which I think is fantastic. But But if you're not willing to put in the work, you're not going to get the results, and you have to be willing to put in the work. It's not complicated. It's not some crazy secret knowledge. All of the knowledge to make a lot of money in real estate is in this room, but you got to be dedicated and actually do the work.
How are you guys finding all your deals right now?
We're spending a whole bunch of money on marketing.
Marketing. What are you sending?
We're sending postcards, we're sending letters, we're sending, we're doing Facebook, we're doing pay-per-click, we're working our network, co-wholesaling deals.
Awesome.
We actually do buy about 50% of our deals from wholesalers right now. We bought over 350 deals last year from wholesalers. Besides that, we're doing the same thing that everyone else is now. So MLS, every single auction we can see. We're sending out mailers, for signs. Nowadays, you have to have a lot of different ways, and you do a lot of marketing to get deals, because it's obviously getting very competitive out there again.
We're doing direct mail, we're experimenting with Facebook and pay-per-click and all that stuff. But once again, all that money's wasted unless you're taking the calls and converting the ones that are good. And as far as putting the work in, like I said, we've done maybe 60 so far. If you go through the call log of calls that have come in, it's just thousands and thousands of calls to weed through, and just miles spent driving around Jacksonville for complete waste of time appointments. So it's really, there's no secret. We're all doing the same thing, but it's answering calls at 8 o'clock at night when you really don't feel like it, going on appointments on Saturdays, Sundays when people can show you their house. It's putting the work in is all it is.
Same thing, mailers, pay-per-click. We do a little bit of Facebook, a little bit of videos here and there, but we have some bandit signs out. But again, just like they said, we kind of put all of our eggs in different baskets, because right now it is very, very competitive. So for us, we do exactly what everybody else is doing. We just, put our money where we know things will work, and it's kind of hit or miss, but yeah, just.
What do you think is the one biggest tool or concept that you guys are doing that has made the biggest change?
For us, I would say just being consistent, sending out the marketing, following up on the leads, making sure that you are converting each lead every single time, following up. That's probably the biggest thing that has changed to keep us on a nice kind of slow roller coaster instead of massive ups and downs.
And the biggest change that I saw was in mindset. I remember in the first couple months, we had a really good deal at the beach. It was like a $45,000 wholesale in Atlantic Beach. And I was excited about it, trying to go high five people, and no one gave a shit. Everyone was just worried about, well, what's next? Like, what calls came in today? And that was the biggest, eye opener for me. Is it's not, the money's made in having a pipeline and keeping things moving. Worrying about $5,000 on this deal, or $2,000 on this deal, that's where you lose money, is wasting time worrying about that stuff. So I think the mindset of keeping things moving, keeping everything flowing through the system has been the biggest change for me.
So the biggest change for us is a little bit different, because it happened in 08 and 09, and it was persistence. Because we started in 06, we had a great year and a half, and then the world blew up. And we owned houses that were worth 50% of what we had paid for them, and we were freaking out. And what we did is we sold off our bad inventory, we took the losses ourselves, we paid all of our investors back, we were eating ramen noodles for a year and a half, and struggling to get by, but we kept going and came through it, and there was no one left in real estate. So then it was really easy to buy. We're talking up here, how do we buy? It was just deals left on the MLS. And what we learned from that is persistence. No matter what problem is in front of you, if you're committed to solving it, and no matter what, and you can there is an answer out there, and you can find it. And we had people that looked at us, family and friends, that we were the biggest idiots in the world for sticking with real estate in 2009. And we told them they were all idiots, and we proved everyone wrong. And that was because maybe we were too stupid to realize that we should have just quit. But it was all about persistence and not taking no for an answer. It goes a lot back to mindset. And as far as any one specific thing, the one thing that really enabled us to scale our business from when we were doing 100 deals to 700 deals was crowdfunding. So back in 2014, we started crowdfunding equity from a website called Realty Shares, which we were previously funding deals with only private money, and this enabled us to quadruple the number of deals that we were buying, because it basically gave us unlimited capital, where we would put a post on a website, in 24 hours we'd have $1 million. We would leverage that with a line of credit for $3 million from a hard money lender, and we would have $4 million to go out and buy properties. We were paying 12 to 14% interest. And so that really enabled us to scale in 2013, 14, 15. So two different ways to attack that question. But
I'm going to be doing now is, by the way, did you guys hear some commonality in that last question? Just being persistent and keep going. Things are going to happen. Deals are going to fall through. Sellers are not going to want to accept what you're offering them. Buyers are going to back out of deals. It is what it is. Just keep going. That's exactly what they all said. Just keep going, and look what happens when you keep going. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open it up to the crowd. Guys, raise your hand if you have a question. I'm going to run up to you with the mic. Stand up, ask the question, and then they'll all give some feedback.
Thank you very much for all your wisdom and for coming out tonight to share with us. Does it help to have a partner in your business to do that with, or can you just do that with team members that you bring onto your team later? Any thoughts on the dynamics of the office?
I would say that you definitely need, in the beginning you can start by yourself because you can take the phone calls, you can do the appointments, but once you scale it, it gets very hard to take every appointment, every phone call. If you're doing rehabs, you have to check on every rehab. If you're doing wholesales, you have to check on every contract, things like that. So in the beginning, yes, you can totally do it by yourself. That's how I started, but it makes it a lot easier, a lot better when you can find those key people who will help with your marketing, who will help answer your phone calls and follow up with the leads. It makes it a million times easier, but again, when you start, working by yourself, hustling, knowing how to do it, so then when you do get people, you can set them up for success, show them your ways, and then you can try and have a well-oiled machine.
I think a partner is important because being able to bounce ideas off somebody else, even if it's as simple as just the ARV on a house. If you're off by 10 or 15 grand, that's the whole profit margin. So you may think a house is worth 130 and your partner says, no, look at this, it's actually worth 150. So just being able to talk things through is, I think that, you'll get a lot farther working with someone else.
I think a partner can be invaluable, but it has to be the right partner. It has to be someone with complementary skills. My business partners and I are all good at different things. We don't step on each other's toes. So there's a synergy there. Don't partner with someone just because they're there. Make sure that you like the person and that they're bringing some value, and then it's invaluable to have the right partner.
I would take on partnerships very selectively. It's marriage. Yeah, it's legit marriage, except without some of the benefits. So I think if I could just...
Except for Obi.
So, Alex kind of hit on it though, staying in your lane and knowing what your unique ability is, and knowing what your skill set is, and building a team around you can be really powerful. I think, Pat kind of mentioned it, a sounding board can be a partner, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So, that's why your network, for instance, Alex actually was one of my initial mentors and was a sounding board for me. And, I didn't pay him a whole bunch of money. I didn't pay him any money. I just sent him deals. But I was able to get some kind of guidance and some insight into the market, and that got me just a little bit further down the path. And hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? And just some steering, right? So definitely some benefits to it, but definitely some potholes and pitfalls as well.
Who's next? Who's got a question?
The question is for someone who is starting this part-time and has a fair bit of commitments, whether professional or family. How would you suggest they proceed, and what are the first things they ought to focus on to start building the business to a respectable level?
I mean, that's kind of a hard question for me to answer, aside from just to say, like, make sure that you have the end goal in mind. I mean, real estate's one of the most amazing vehicles that I've ever encountered. You can make it serve you however you want to if you're intentional and have a well thought out plan. So I guess I would just ask you, like, what are you trying to have your real estate business do for you, and then build it out according to that.
I'm assuming that the question is directed towards making, short-term cash profits off of it and not a rental portfolio kind of question. So I'd say either decide on if you're going to wholesale or you're going to rehab. Don't try to do both at the same time, especially part-time. And if you're going to rehab, don't find great wholesalers that are going to sell you deals that still have some meat on the bone, so you can just focus on your relationship with the wholesalers, finding good contracting crews, and then you can have the agents list them on the MLS if you're going to rehab. If you're going to wholesale, then you need to focus on getting really, really good at marketing, sending out those mailers, spending that time, and building a buyer's list so that you can flip properties too. We're a great buyer if you want to do that. Especially if you're part-time, only do one of those two things. That would be my advice.
How much are you spending to get those properties?
Good question. I can say that we spend about 25% of each profit that we get from each deal. So it's going to be a lot different. I mean, one year I think we've spent $50,000 for marketing. One year we've spent $30,000 for marketing. The way that I have it set up is that after each deal, we do take 25% right off the top, nobody else gets anything, and go straight to marketing. So that's what I would suggest is 25% is what I do off each deal, and then put it straight into marketing.
I mean, marketing is our main source of business. That's where all the money goes. We take very little out, and on a monthly basis, we're north of 20 grand or so on a monthly, and we're continually ramping up every single month. So, a lot.
Don't let these big numbers scare you. When we started in our first year and we did like 15 deals that first year, we were spending $500 a month on marketing because we were buying the cheap signs and we were putting them out ourselves. And you focus on one list and you only send out the mailers that you can handle. So, well, you're going to hear big numbers up here. You don't have to do 200 deals, 120 deals, 75 deals. We're all spending a lot, but you don't need to start out.
I would just echo what Alex said, because up until about 2.5 years ago, I really didn't spend anything on marketing. I worked my network, I worked MLS, I worked auction properties, I worked Craigslist. And despite the market being hot, there's still deals there, 100%. There is definitely still deals there. So now we're spending about 25 grand a month. Yeah. Yeah, but here's the thing, like it's either you're just trading time because you're putting in a lot of energy, turning over a lot of rocks, or you're paying to generate those leads to come to you. Not a right or a wrong, they both work. Matter of fact, we're still doing both of them. But if you want the consistency and you don't want to be at it like full tilt, the 80 hours that Alex is talking about, like spending some money, even if you're just starting small, to generate those people calling you is awesome.
Is there any skills that you bring from your pre-real estate time that leverage you doing real estate now?
I think the biggest thing that my previous career kind of set me up for was problem solving. And that's really the business that we're in, is a people business and a problem solving business. And I've got a little bit of a construction background, so that definitely didn't hurt either.
It really goes down to the fact that real estate isn't complicated, and whatever your skill set is, there's a facet of real estate that you can use those skills at to make money. you know, I'm outgoing and I like to talk to people and go to networking events, and so that's what I focused on when I started, and I used those skills that I had. Where, you know, my business partner, who was really analytical, was the one at the time that was doing all the analyzing on deals and focusing on the marketing and, you know, tracking the metrics and that. So whatever your skills are, you can use them to make money in real estate.
My skills of being able to talk to people and being able to make people feel comfortable has been invaluable, as people need to feel comfortable with you if they're going to sell you their house. Just having the end in mind, keeping in mind that you are going there to get a signature, to close it, is so important. And I've always just been very focused on the end goal. So I'll push to get it closed every time, because it's really competitive right now. If they're calling you, they're calling 5 other people. So yeah, it's a people business.
I was a bartender before I started this, so if I can deal with drunk people, I can deal with sellers. So for me, I go into it with, I'm a people person, and I just listen more than I talk. I let the seller tell me their whole lifelong story about their dog and everybody else, and I just listen. And I think that's really what helps, is I try to connect with them on a different level. So yeah, being a people person is very, very helpful.
Hello, my name is Pepper Rogers, and I am new to the area, and I used to be a president of a couple of RIAs up in North Carolina. And as you guys have been very successful at what you do, I did want to offer some encouragement for new people. The last 6 months I've gone across the United States, analyzed every market, because I'm opening up a modular home dealership and a land development company. This is the best real estate market in the United States right now. If you guys can't make money as a beginner, even if it's a $5,000 or $10,000 check, you're just not working hard enough. So this is an awesome market. My question to the experts up there is, what are the trends right now? For example, can't find a house under 150. You got so many buyers that are 150. Right now, I've already flipped 3 single wides, made some really good money. Flipped a piece of land already. So, is it lease option people? Is it just people needing a 4-bedroom rental? Things of that sort.
I mean, for me, I focus on single family, so I mean, that's the best that I can tell you, is that all we focus on is single family. We don't do any duplexes or multifamily or trailers or anything like that. I mean, we're still getting a ton of deals under the $100,000 range that will retail for the $150,000, $200,000 range. So for me, I would say single family is still there, but these guys may have a little different.
So like I said, I'm still pretty new to it, but stuff I've seen just change over the past year is trending right now. Like you said, nice renovated house that's 150 grand and priced right, it's going to be gone in a day. In good areas, Arlington's out of control right now. Atlantic Beach is just ridiculous, and Murray Hill. You're getting crazy prices, and those are great areas because you can pay people fair prices for their house. You're not trying to buy their house for 30, 40 grand. You can pay them fair prices and then still make money. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more that Jacksonville is just a great place to be doing this right now. If your house is priced right, it will be gone fast. It's just the way it is right now. Everything that we're rehabbing and selling is gone within a week. So it's good right now.
We track everything in our business. The rent collection, lease re-signs, number, everything we track. We track the real estate market very closely as well. So, I mean, the 2 big indicators in the real estate market are inventory and pricing. Right now, inventory was at less than 3 months. So 6 months is normal. Anything below 6 months is a seller's market. So we're in an extreme seller's market. You'd expect prices to keep going up, higher than normal. Normal in Jacksonville is about 4% per year. So if we had 6 months of inventory, we should expect to see 4% appreciation. The great thing about inventory is it's a leading indicator. It shows what's going to happen over the next 6 to 12 months. So we're reasonably confident that the market is going to continue doing what it's doing for the next 6 to 12 months. When you break it down even farther, we look at inventory broken down by price point. So below 200 grand, there's less than 2 months of inventory on the market. That's why anything at 150 renovated is flying off the shelves. Above 750, there's 14 months of inventory on the market. So what we think is that the high end is ready for a fall, and the low end is going to keep trucking up. And the reason the low end is going to keep trucking up, there's no inventory because you can't build it. The most important thing is to make a personal connection with the person selling the house. They have to trust you, or no matter what you're offering, they're not going to sell you the house. So work on, before you get to what their objections are, you need to, like Cindy said, you're asking them questions about their life, hearing what they have to say, and make that connection, and that's going to make handling whatever objection it is much easier. Don't just come in and say, all right, what do you want? What's the issue? Okay, sign a contract. That's going to get a much worse result.
What the objection that you get over the phone is not necessarily the real objection when you get there face to face. So sometimes, like, you can pick up, people's persona on the phone versus people's persona in their house when you can kind of like gauge the situation better and actually see what's happening is a little bit different. So you're spending a ton of money to generate leads and generate those opportunities, run them all the way down.
So what Obi said about going on every single appointment, even if looks like nothing's going to come from it, that is gold information right there. I've blown some off that other people come behind me and get. It's devastating when that happens. But when you get there, making a connection is huge. They're not going to sell your house if they don't trust you. What I do is I'm brutally honest with people. Even before I go to their house, I tell them on the phone that we're a business and I'm coming over there, to make an offer based on me making a profit. So if they're not comfortable with me making a profit on the house, then it's probably, I say go on all your appointments, but that's really probably not worth your time because they want something close to retail. But I'm upfront with them about how much I plan on making on it and how much my rehab costs are, and I think it just becomes a comfort thing. From there, if they feel comfortable, selling you the house, then they will.
I will agree with Pat. We go on our appointments, we take our rehab sheet. We're very upfront. We don't BS anything. We go and we we show them exactly what their house needs. And we show them all the comps of what it's going to resell for with our sheet of how much it's going to take to get their house back up. And you just have to remember, this is an emotional decision for the seller. We're not in it for our emotions. We don't care. It's all numbers game for us. So I would say just go in, have your facts, have your rehab sheet, be able to show them exactly what you're doing, and you're not going in there and say, oh, I can buy it for 60, and they know that their neighbor sold it for 200,000. Like, you need to be able to show them exactly what you're doing, what are the comps, what are they selling for, so you can make them feel comfortable and trust you, and that you're not going in there and pretty much taking their house.
Hey, again, thank you guys for coming out here. I did have one comment that I wanted to say. I don't mean you guys have been fantastic, but Alex, you said something that struck me. I bought and sold a lot of houses myself, and he said you guys just need to network. The biggest mistake I've seen is you guys need to buy one house to learn how to do it, and everybody thinks before you go out and buy a house that you need to have all the answers. So you buy all these programs, you go to all these things. You don't really need to know any of the answers. You just need to know the right questions. If you know the right questions, anybody in here can answer the question. If you have a title problem, call the guy at Accurate Title. I mean, I just met him today. If you have another question, these guys would be more than happy to answer it. I own an appraisal company. I bought and sold houses. If you know me, say, hey, Steve, I got a question. How do I do this? And you'll be amazed after doing 1 or 2 houses how much you know after just doing 1 or 2. So don't worry about the marketing. I mean, these guys are way more advanced than we'll probably ever be, and that's okay. If you do 2 or 3 houses a year, you're going to notice a huge change in your day-to-day and your lifestyle. So just know the questions. You can find the answers to any question by making 1 or 2 calls. But anyway, you guys, you had said that, and I learned that long ago, and I've told people that. But I have a question for anybody, but mainly you, Alex, because you buy and then fix up and sell to people who just want to get the income from it, and then you manage the properties. Do you have certain parameters that you look for? I don't want to get into cap rates and everything, but when you look to buy a property to fix it up, you have to have a certain return on that investment. So if I'm wholesaling, or I say, hey, I've got some properties, and you say, this is my parameters that I look for, and I say, hey, I've got these 10 that would fit. Is that how you kind of do it, or can you share what the return you're looking for, just so you can kind of...
Yep, absolutely. So we sell properties at around 6 cap rate. So our investors are getting a levered return of 7 to 9%. So that translates, if we're selling a house, and we sell in the $100,000 to $200,000 price range. So a house that rents for $1,000, we're selling for $115,000 to $125,000. That's kind of the rough numbers. So if you know what your house rents for, you should know what we should be able to buy it for. One thing I will say is, I laugh when wholesalers come to us and say it's a $10,000 rehab. Our average renovation costs are north of $35,000 because our clients are relying on us to have as hassle-free as possible real estate owning experience. We do all new everything. So it's new roof, new plumbing, new electric, a total renovation on the interior. We don't save that much. So our renovation numbers are normally a lot higher than what you would typically see because we need to give an absolute top-notch renovation to our clients.
Hi, I'm Jean Williams. I would like you to share with us your funding source and how much you're paying. And if you don't mind, what's your return, average expected return when you flip a house? Thank you.
From a funding source, at this point frankly, we're doing a lot less fix and flips. Frankly, there's a lot more risk, a lot more headaches, and the money is more predictable and better on the wholesale side at the moment, from my experience, at this point in our kind of evolution. So that's what we're doing more of. We still are buying some stuff and doing the hotel route. We're doing that with a combination of our own funds and with hard money, private money, and I'm paying basically like 10% is pretty much the going rate for the majority of the money that I'm borrowing.
So we use private money. Right now we have about $38 million in private money. We pay 10% to our lenders, and we've raised that organically over the past 12 years. So that literally started out from my college buddy lending me 10 grand, and we paid him back. And his dad lent us 50 grand, and we paid him back. And his dad's golfing buddies lent us 200 grand, and we paid them back. And just over the years, it snowballed. We've never missed a payment. We've paid our investors we've been lent over $300 million in the last 12 years, paid 100% of our lenders back in full. So they have that, even during the downturn, we were still paying every single one of them back. So that's our main source. We also use crowdfunding and hard money lenders for another probably 22 million. We probably have 60 million out at any given point in time. And that money is a mixture of, we raise equity at about 15%, and then we leverage it with debt at about 9%. The equity is about 25% of the capital stack. The debt's about 75%, so we come in at about a 12% all-in cost of capital for the crowdfunding money that we raise.
I think money was my biggest misconception when I first started. I was always worried about money, worried about funding, trying to find funding sources. But the reality is there's tons of money out there, and it's all the same. It's all Obi's got 10%. There's hard money at 12 and 2. But if you find something that's an actual deal, and you email it to Obi, you email it to Alex, Cindy, anybody up here, you'll have money in a couple hours. So. And Greg's here, he's got hard money. There's just so many hard money resources. The important thing is the deal. If you have something that works, anyone will be jumping at it, and there's tons of money, whether you want to partner, whether you want to wholesale, money is not an issue right now.
I will agree. We use a mixture of private funds and our own money right now. I'm with Obi that we've kind of stepped back from the flips because it is too much of a headache at this time. But ours, we're getting it for about 12% if we use hard money.
It's all about getting with someone that's done it before and providing them value. even if you're doing it for free in the beginning, just to put your name on the deed. And even if you make no money off it, just to put your name on the deed that you did the deal, now you have that next time to show to your hard money lender, say, look, this is what we made on this one. Even if you personally made nothing, that's the way to work up. The best way would be provide value to someone that's already doing it. Network and find someone doing it that you can add value to for free.
And find a JV partner that can do it. Find hard money lenders that are going to fund 100% of the deal. Cash doesn't mean cash. As long as you're closing in the time frame, the wholesaler doesn't care if you got a hard money loan or if it was real cash.
Common misconception, I think, in this industry is that like wholesaling is like an entry-level way to get in the business, and it's kind of like frowned upon or scoffed at. I'm here to tell you, like, it's the only way to have a well, not the only way. It's a very sophisticated business model, and it can be very lucrative if you do it right. So I don't know. I would challenge misconceptions that like fixing and flipping is sexy and exciting. It's nice to see a pretty finished product, but you can lose your shirt. So it's like kind of jumping into the deep end of the pool. There's nothing wrong with stacking up, 5 or 10 wholesale deals a month and making 150 grand or 200 grand. There's nothing to sneeze at.
How did you get into land development?
Kind of by accident. So it was, 2011, 2012, and there was some land that came across to us from a wholesaler, and I just researched on how much it was going to cost to build a house, which back then was very inexpensive. New construction prices have gone up a lot, and just figured out that if you can buy the lot for $5 and you can build the house for $65 and you can sell it for $95, that there's a profit margin in there. So it wasn't, it was a deal that fell into our lap, and we explored it and figured out that it worked.
Hey, thank you guys for giving us this experience. I really enjoy it. This is my fear. I've been coming here for almost a year. I've not sold one house because I'm afraid. So where I am a single lady, I don't want to be going to the north side and be putting things or be knocking people's house. So I don't want to do that. So where do you get the house to wholesale? Because that's what I want to do.
What was a big motivator for me was I got mad at myself, or I allowed myself to get comfortable. And when I realized that I had become comfortable and I wasn't progressing, then I got upset. And so the being upset made me take action. And if you take action consistently enough, you're going to see some success, and you'll push, and you'll see some results from pushing. And it might be MLS deals, it might be networking deals, it might be spending some money and generating some leads. I think the key is to actually get started. Get started, you're going to run into some brick walls, just overcome them, continue to push forward and persevere. But get started, don't let fear hold you back. The art is in the start.
That was catchy. Good. Just like Obi said, you said you had fear, but if it's fear of a certain neighborhood, just don't go in that neighborhood, or buy from a different source. You just got to start doing these things. We've talked about it a million times. There's no secrets. You just have to take action. Do one deal. Talk to one seller, and your fears, whatever they are, will start melting away once you actually start doing it.
It's all a numbers game. The more you're fishing, the more lines you have in the water, the more different things you're doing, the longer you do it, the better your odds are of finding something. If you're doing Craigslist, bandit signs, just Google ways to find houses, and a huge list of stuff will come up to do, and that's all stuff that we do and find them. And it's just persistence, like we talked about before, and being able to have people say no to you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and being able to get back up, and eventually one will click, and it'll be a great feeling, and you will do it. If you put the work in, it'll happen. And it's as simple as that. It's just numbers.
Yeah, I'll just say that fear obviously is not going to work. I mean, I look at it as, people may think I'm crazy, but it is just money. Somebody's not going to, I mean, if you spend the money, somebody's not going to die from it. Like, I don't look at it as being scared to do it. So for me, I would just say, like Alex said, if it's a neighborhood or a certain area or certain types of houses that you just don't feel comfortable with, completely fine. I would just go to a different one, but I wouldn't be scared. I mean, you got to get started. You got to do it. You got to put your right foot in front of the left foot to keep going. But I would say, I mean, the easiest way is just start Craigslist. You can just start putting simple ads on there that you're looking for these types of properties. You'll get emails from us, from wholesalers who want to put you on their buyers list. From there, that is just a simple way to just start getting deals coming in. You can analyze them, see what you do want to work with, what you don't want to work with, and move from there.
Good evening.
Yeah.
I just have one quick question. I keep hearing you guys say MLS. Are all you guys realtors or brokers as well?
If you are a real estate investor, you should definitely get licensed because you need access to the MLS. And it's a lot harder to find deals on the MLS nowadays, but you still can find deals. But more importantly than that, just so you know what's going on in the market, you have access to comps. I don't know. You obviously can be a real estate investor without being licensed, but you're just making life much harder on yourself. And I hear sometimes people say like, oh, you have to disclose it to a seller if you're an agent. Yeah. I've never had a seller care ever that I was a real estate agent. So yes, I would say get licensed.
Yeah, I'm an agent. Definitely get your license.
I am also an agent, and I will definitely say go get your license, not just to have access to the MLS, but to also know the laws, to know the contracts. You will find yourself in situations where people who know a little bit more than you, and you want to be protected. I mean, you never know what sellers can do. It's just very knowledgeable to know your contracts in and out, some of the Florida laws. So getting your license will help you take those classes. You'll know what you're doing. So I would definitely say get your license. It's worth it.
You guys also, I'm assuming, joined this group and have completed all the classes as well? And that's made all the difference.
It was 10 years ago, but yeah.
I won't lie, I have not. This is probably my second or third time here at Jax Reia. So no, I haven't done any of the classes here. I haven't taken any wholesaler real estate classes other than getting my license. So this is really, I'm pretty new to Jax Reia.
When I got started, I came to every single Jax Reia event. I didn't miss anything. I went to every single quick start class and talked to every single person I could. I went to every meetup in town. There's several other ones. Obi runs one that's really good also. And there's another one that goes on at River City Brewery. Just go to meetup.com. If you're serious about it, you should be going to every single thing. Those classes are valuable. Some better than others, but they all have value.
There's no better cost-effective education than Jax Reia and some of the other Reias in town, for sure.
I went to almost every meeting here for the first 2 years, and I'd echo what Alex is saying. I mean, I've probably spent, I don't know, above 6 figures in mentors and advisors and coaches and so forth. And truthfully, the information itself is probably in those quick start classes. So there's, it's not rocket science. It's simple stuff. The hard stuff is up here. So that's the getting out of your own way and surrounding yourself with people that are actually doing stuff. That's key.
Did you find it be more important adding to your team in terms of a mixture of title closers, real estate attorneys? How did you make that decision?
I would say one of my first people was a good real estate agent who, I mean, this was back in 2011. So I hooked up with a good real estate agent who knew the market, had been doing it longer than me, who knew more than me when it came to the comps and how to run the comps. So I would say in the beginning, get with a good real estate agent, a good broker, especially somebody who's active with investors who know how it works, who understand the contracts, kind of what we're doing. I would say real estate agent would be the first one to kind of connect with, because they can put offers in for you. I mean, you can make them a deal to pay them XYZ. If they put in these contracts, they get accepted. I mean, you can make deals with them. So I would say start with the agent.
I'd say start with a mentor, but just have some self-awareness to know that, you know, you're not bringing a ton of value in the beginning. So working for someone for free, putting in sweat equity, helping them with stuff, and then kind of use their connections as you build up yourself. That's what I did. I networked with people like Obi and you know, Kyle, my business partner who's been around a long time. Got really fortunate with the mentors that I chose, and used title attorneys, you know, closing processors that they used, and went from there. So I say number one is a mentor, but you know, have the self-awareness to know the value you bring, and you know, get out there and do it for free first.
What Pat said.
So the question was like, which team member or which person to kind of bring on first? I mean, I think you could have like a rough team built out in a week. So, you know, you need an agent, you need a title company or an attorney, you need a contractor, you need an insurance agent if you're doing buy and hold or fix and flip. I mean, there's probably, you know, that's the start of it right there, right? So like you could walk out of here this afternoon and have that.
Hello, my name is Faraz. Just have a quick question. Your recommendation how to recruit a construction crew to your experience?
I mean, I've tried a lot of different stuff. I think the one that kind of works best is just going on site on projects that are actually turning now in a neighborhood that you're interested in working in, and physically seeing the construction product that the crews are producing. And basically like kind of interviewing them on jobs that they're actually producing, and then checking references would be my tips.
Look on the MLS and see all the flips that have sold, and look who's pulling permits on them. Because those are guys that they're hitting the price point because they're doing flips for other investors, and you want to be dealing with people that pull permits. So that's and referrals, obviously. So talk to your network. The number one way to find contractors is through referrals. That's another good way. And just know that contractors are normally only good for a certain period of time. So I feel like we've hired every single contractor in Jacksonville over the last 12 years, and we've fired 99% of them. And you're gonna go through more than your fair share as well. So that's a persistence thing. You interview them on the front end, get referrals, you know, wherever you find them, but just know that you got to keep an eye on them. And just because they've been good for a year or for 2 jobs or 10 jobs, doesn't mean that they're always going to be good.
Exactly what Alex said. Here's a quick horror story. We hired a new guy to do a job for us, and you know, he was a laid-back guy. He used to do some houses for JWB. You know, he knew our contractor we use all the time. I had confidence in him. He talked a good game. I didn't babysit him enough on the first job. That means I was giving him draws and was listening to the, you know, what he was telling me was done over the phone, and my own fault for not going there and checking what was done. We had paid him about 20 grand when all was said and done. Stopped answering the phone. Gone, disappeared. And now he's actually, he actually called one of my, he doesn't answer the phone for me anymore, but called one of my bandit signs the other day asking for work. So it was actually a guy I told Cindy about. Yeah, that Cindy told me not to use. So, but it was already too late. So there's a lot of pieces of crap out there. So referrals, make them sign something and babysit them until you get a good relationship and you trust the guy.
That's when they'll screw you again.
Yeah. So I guess there's no right answer to that one.
Yeah, referrals, and make sure you have a solid contract with them. Make sure the bid is exactly to a T. Make sure it is down to a stud in the wall. I don't care. Just make sure everything is in agreement. Everything's in writing. Make sure all the contracts are done, because we've had horror stories that we've trusted, and yeah, they fall off the face of the earth. Even, you know, they're general contractors. That's great. That does not mean that they're going to do what they say. So make sure you have everything in writing, the bid's in writing, and you babysit. You've got to be at that job every single day. You don't want to. It's not fun. You don't want to watch paint dry. Be there every day. Let them know your presence and let them know that you were watching.
I'm wondering, do you guys deal with out-of-state or out-of-the-country investors? And how do you handle that differently than local buyers?
I don't deal with out-of-the-country buyers, but I do deal with out-of-the-state buyers. I mean, they're exactly the same way. They just want, you have to give them all of your numbers, all of your paperwork, walk them through it. If they can't physically be here, then you need to make sure that you have great pictures, you have a great walkthrough, you have a great video, you have everything ironclad for them because you are their eyes and ears here. So I would just say that if you do have an out-of-state buyer, just make sure that you cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure everything's in order, that you're being upfront, that you're not saying it's a $10,000 rehab when in reality it's $40,000 rehab. Just make sure you have the bids from the contractors and just be very upfront and translucent with them.
We deal with both out of state, and most of our investors are out of state, and we have a lot out of the country. And it's a high, we position ourselves as a, customer service organization. We're high touch, we have great relationships with our clients, and that's important when over 50% of our clients never even come to Jacksonville. They never even see their house. And they're trusting our reputation and the information that we're giving them to buy houses. And we have premium pricing because we're providing premium service. People pay us more than if they came here and just bought a house from a wholesaler and rehabbed it themselves, and they know that going in. So be willing to provide that higher level of service, but know that if you're dealing with the right type of client, they should be willing to pay for that higher level of service. So if you're providing a high level of service, don't position yourself as a bargain basement price point because you might not make money.
Awesome. So remember, from what I got tonight, guys, it's basically just taking action, being consistent with the action that you're taking, and when shit hits the fan, keep taking action, keep making the calls, keep being consistent, and one day you could be up here sharing your story with the whole group. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Let's give these guys one more round of applause. And another thing that I heard here was, go to all the Jax Reia classes, attend all of the quick starts, go to all the networking events, talk to everybody. So if you guys are not yet a member, Louise will be set up at the table right outside the doors. Make sure you become a member tonight. We have a ton of classes, like they said, that you guys can attend. Massive value. Thanks again, guys, for coming. We'll see you soon.